Kelsey Mitchell has finally broken her silence. For months, fans of the WNBA and the Indiana Fever had been craving something more than the polished, generic sound bites that players often give when faced with the constant media storm surrounding Caitlin Clark and the Fever's turnaround. Mitchell, the veteran guard who has carried Indiana through years of irrelevance, finally gave the league something real, something raw, and something that immediately shifted the way we talk about women's basketball. It wasn't just an interview, it was a declaration. And the way she framed her words revealed not only how deeply she respects Clark, but also how profoundly she understands the moment the Fever and the WNBA are in right now. For years, Kelsey Mitchell was the lone survivor of a franchise gasping for relevance. She entered the league in 2018, drafted second overall, quickly found herself in the middle of what would become one of the darkest stretches in franchise history. Indiana wasn't just losing, they were collapsing. Seasons with 5 wins, coaching changes that came and went like revolving doors, and nights when opponents circled Fever games on their calendars as an automatic stat-padding opportunity. For Mitchell, this wasn't just playing basketball, it was carrying a weight. Night after night, she answered questions about rebuilding while knowing that nothing resembling progress was visible on the horizon. She was the franchise's heartbeat, whether anyone outside Indiana noticed or not. While the league ignored Indiana, Mitchell stayed. While other stars might have demanded a trade or forced their way to a contender, she dug in and endured. That loyalty now means something more than ever, because in 2025, for the first time in her career, the Fever are no longer the league's doormat. They are the storm shaking it up, and a huge part of that shift is Caitlin Clark. That's where Mitchell's words carry so much weight. Because when asked about Clark, she didn't hide behind cliches or pretend the impact wasn't monumental. She said it plainly. Caitlin Clark has changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball itself. That isn't just a compliment, it's an admission from the one player who had every reason to be bitter. Mitchell could have easily resented Clark's arrival. The way the spotlight immediately shifted from her years of grinding to the rookie phenom's stardom, she could have looked at the sellouts, the primetime TV coverage, the sudden media frenzy and thought, asterisk, where was this when I was carrying the franchise by myself? Instead, she embraced it, and not only embraced it, but elevated it. Mitchell made it clear that Clark wasn't just a talented player boosting attendance. She was a seismic force who fundamentally altered the ecosystem of basketball. That's bigger than stats, bigger than MVP talk, bigger than championships. She acknowledged the obvious truth the league itself has been reluctant to admit. Caitlin Clark is the needle. The player who sells out arenas, commands television ratings, and shifts global perception of the WNBA in a way no one before her ever has. But here's the brilliance of Mitchell's comments. They weren't about surrendering her own legacy. She didn't erase herself from the story. Instead, she reminded everyone of her role as the survivor who kept Indiana alive long enough for Clark to ignite it. She positioned herself not as Clark's shadow, but as her partner, her co-star, and perhaps even her protector. That's why when Mitchell looked into the camera and called Clark not just a teammate, but a friend, it landed with such gravity in pro sports. Friend is not a casual label. It carries weight because ego and rivalry so often tear teams apart from the inside. But for Mitchell, Clark isn't just the star rookie soaking up headlines. She's someone who welcomed the team with grace, embraced the veterans, and created an environment where everyone's game could flourish. Mitchell admitted that certain doors opened only because of Clark's arrival and, instead of resenting it, she respected it. That is leadership. The irony is that Mitchell herself is now benefiting from that shift. Her profile has never been bigger. She's had one of the best seasons of her career, receiving MVP buzz, putting up efficient scoring performances, and finally getting the national recognition she always deserved, but rarely got when Indiana was irrelevant. Clark's stardom has lifted the Fever into the spotlight. But it's also shined directly on Mitchell, giving fans and analysts a chance to truly see her greatness. Without Clark, Mitchell might still be the WNBA's best-kept secret. With her, Mitchell is finally being recognized as one of the league's elite guards. And Mitchell isn't just accepting this dynamic, she's doubling down on it. She's made it clear she wants this group the emerging Fab Four of Clark, Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hall too, stay together. She even hinted she'd take less money if it meant keeping the core intact. In today's sports world, where securing the bag is often the ultimate goal, that kind of sacrifice is almost revolutionary. It shows she understands that the Fever aren't just building a good team. They're building something historic. The chemistry is undeniable. From Clark's humor that Mitchell praised in the locker room, to Boston's dominance in the post, to Hull's grit and glue girl mentality, Indiana isn't just surviving anymore. They're winning. They're relevant. And they're suddenly the team to watch. And Mitchell's words prove that this success isn't fragile. It isn't built on ego or individualism. It's built on respect, partnership, and authenticity. Too often in sports, teams implode because stars can't coexist. Egos clash, and rivalries form within the same locker room. But Mitchell's declaration cut through all of that noise. She's not threatened by Clark. She's empowered by her. That's what makes her statement so refreshing in a league where veteran stars have too often met Clark's arrival with jealousy or dismissiveness. Whether it's Asia Wilson throwing shade, Cheryl Swoops critiquing Clark in interviews, or older voices in the game questioning her hype, there's been an undercurrent of resentment from some corners of the WNBA. Mitchell flipped that script. Instead of bitterness, she chose respect. Instead of rivalry, she chose alliance. And in doing so, she gave the league the kind of authenticity it desperately needs right now. Because make no mistake, the WNBA is at a turning point. Every Fever press conference eventually circles back to one question. What about Caitlin Clark? That's not by accident. Clark has made herself unavoidable. She's the gravitational pull of women's basketball right now, the orbit around which everything else spins. And while some may find that frustrating, Mitchell made it clear she embraces it. Because unlike the skeptics, she's lived both versions of the Fever. She's endured the irrelevance, and now she's living the revolution. The truth is simple. Caitlin Clark changed the game. But Kelsey Mitchell's acceptance of that change has made the Fever stronger. Together, they're not just teammates. They're allies in rewriting the future of the WNBA. And that's why Mitchell's words matter more than anything else right now. Because she isn't just validating Clark's impact. She's validating the idea that women's basketball doesn't have to be built on rivalry, jealousy, or tearing each other down. It can be built on authenticity, partnership, and respect. This is why Indiana feels different. This is why the Fever are more than just a playoff team. They're a blueprint for a dynasty. Mitchell has declared her allegiance, not to the old guard of the league, but to a future embodied by Caitlin Clark and a Fever squad hungry to dominate. The WNBA is on notice. Indiana isn't just building a team. They're building a movement. And if Mitchell, Clark, Boston, and Hull stay united, this won't just be a good story. It'll be a dynasty. So now the question shifts to you. What do you think of Kelsey, Mitchell's words, and her friendship with Caitlin Clark? Do you believe this partnership can carry the Fever into a dynasty era? Let us know down in the comments, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA stories and daily basketball breakdowns. This is one journey you don't want to miss.